grammar practice with this test. Okay, so doing this test, we know it's the last test to the elementary book that we have been doing together. So it's going to have all the grammar that we've learned from, if you remember, your past, present, and future tenses. So how do we create a sentence in a moment of time when we're speaking? And also, you know, your prepositions, your adverbs. You have to be familiar with all the names of these grammar, because when we do this test, it's going to test everything, all the rules that we have learned. Okay, so this is just an elementary level. It is test 3 and it's the last test. So let's do it together and see where the mistakes are. And let's learn and make sure we can remember the rules and just practice together. Okay, so we have test 3 that we are doing together. So a TV reporter is interviewing a fire officer. So we know we've got 2 people now, a TV reporter and a fire officer, about a fire in a hotel. Write the conversation in your notebook, putting the verbs into the correct tense and form, and adding all the other words you need. Okay, so let's have a look at the question first. If you remember, the tense is past, present, future. So we need to know, we need to think of when this sentence is. Is it past? Is it present? Or is it future? Or is it modals? You remember your modals? Your can, could, would, you should, might, may. So the form, really, that's what it means as well. And all the other words. That's your prepositions, those little words. By, in, on, behind, and adverbs. And yeah, lots of other little words that we've done. You know, like for and since. Remember those words as well? So let's have a look. How long something you be here? How would you make that into a correct sentence? How long
have you been here?
Yes. So we have a very common, we use have been, but because we need the subject, have you been? Yeah, here. So how long have you been here? Okay, so we use have been. It comes from the verb, the present perfect. So it's asking, it's an action that started in the past, but it's still continuing today. And we've got how long. So that's a question with numbers, like how many years, how long. So how long have you, that's our subject here, been here? Now, again, you could say, how long have you been in Australia? How long have you been working for this company? How long have you been friends? How long have you been studying English? Okay, so you can ask so many questions, but you've got to remember the structure. How long have you been? And then doing what? So you can actually put the action here. Now, remember, we said you could change it. How long have you all? Or how long have they? Maybe I'm asking about some other people. How long have they been here? So it just depends who the subject is for, but it's using the present perfect. We know the perfect because the perfect has the verb to have. So that's how I know it comes from the perfect. And I know that it's present because it's asking about like now, like how long up until now have you been here? So it was from the present perfect. That's where its grammar came from. Okay, so you could see the answer. Since, we know we use since. You remember the rules, the difference between saying for or since? So if you want to say exactly when, you say since. So how long have you been here? Since 12:30 p.m. Okay, so it's talking about the time, since 12:30. We think. Now we've got a noun. When you have a noun, fire is a noun, you have to have an article in front of it. Now remember what an article is? These were all the other words. An article is words like a, the, or an. We've got the definite article and the indefinite article. So what would you put here? I think the. Now the reason why it's the, not a, because we know exactly which fire. It's very specific. It's this fire. So we think the fire. Now, think of this grammar.
After.
Yes, we need an ED because it's already happened. So you need an ED here. We think the fire started at about 12:15. A lot. When we want a number, we say of. Like how many of. So we need 5 of this, 5 of that. So we need this word here, of, because we're asking about a number. So a lot of the hotel guests, we need to put this in the past.
Slept.
Very close.
Half slept.
It's a continuous action.
Yes,
Was sleeping.
A lot of the hotel guests.
Was sleeping.
Yes, because it was they were doing it. They were sleeping when. So how do you know? When you're adding two actions, especially when you have the word when or while in between two actions, that's how you know one of them is a continuous. Because this action was happening while another action was happening, or this action was happening when another action happened and stopped it. So a lot of the hotels were sleeping when, again, we need an article when the started. We need to make sure this is an action which happened in the past, because it's not happening now, okay? Because if you could see from the question, a TV reporter is interviewing a fire officer about a fire. So the fire has already happened. She's asking him, you know, how long have you been here? And he said a lot of the hotel guests were sleeping when the fire started. Fortunately, that's like saying luckily, they, in the past, they woke up. So we need to make sure this is in the past. It's an irregular. They woke up.
No, woke up. They have woke up.
No, have is only for when you use with a past verb. Like I have studied for 5 years. I have lived in Australia for 10 years. Or when you're talking about possession, I have 3 brothers. I have a laptop. So no, we just need this past simple.
They woke up.
They woke up. It's just an irregular and it's a phrasal verb. It has 2 words for one action. So when they woke up, so fortunately they woke up when they, yes, so past simple, it's an irregular, doesn't have the ed. When they heard, again, we have a noun, so we need an article when they heard.
The fire.
Yeah, the fire alarm. Yep, so when they heard when they heard the fire alarm. And they all, past action, which is complete and finished, and they all escaped. Now remember, it's a completed, finished action. So that's why we put the ed, or past simple. So you could see we were using near the end a lot of the past because it's an action which is already finished and completed. He's just telling you what happened. He's showing the reporter that this is what happened. Now everyone has escaped. We have a question. And how?
Was?
No, was is more like when?
No.
No. And how? Think of a past simple question.
How did?
How did? And how did
fire start.
And we know we can never just add a noun by itself. We need an article. And how did the fire start? Okay, so that's just a simple past simple question. We say did, which comes from the verb do. How did you go on your exam? How did the fire start? How did you find this location? How did you do something? So how did the fire start? So we know in the past simple, we don't add the ed or the ing or anything to the verb because this is already in the past here. And how did the fire start? This is in the infinitive. Okay, so how did the fire start? We
Didn't know.
Don't know.
don't means now.
Didn't.
So don't. I think he's saying now. Yeah, we don't know. So you actually got it right, Deepa. We don't know because he's talking about now in this moment. I don't know. So we don't know, but we think, because that's fine, present simple. He's still speaking in this moment. So this is a negative. We don't know, but we think one of the guests
This is smoking.
smoked,
Smoked.
or you could say was smoking a cigarette in bed when he fell asleep. Yeah, so one of the guests, again, it's a continuous. So he was smoking. And then we've got a noun. Remember, we can't just put a noun by itself. A cigarette, because it's in general. It's not specifically saying this cigarette. I mean, he doesn't have the cigarette, so he's just saying a cigarette in general. So one of the guests was smoking a cigarette in bed when he, it's irregular, fell. When he fell asleep. So how did I know to put the first one in a continuous and the second action in the simple? Because I've got this word here, when. So remember when we have two actions and one of them was happening when another action stopped it happening. So this was continuous. He was smoking a cigarette in bed, and then this stopped the smoking when he fell asleep. Fell is irregular. That's how you say it, fell asleep. Again, it's a verb that has two words in it, so we only change the first part. So look out for those words that connect two actions, when and while. One must be in the continuous and the other would be in the simple. So they're both past. This would be the past continuous. Okay, past continuous. Just put it like that. And this would be the past simple. And we connect these two actions by saying when. So you can't have them both in the same grammar tense. One of them has to be a continuous, that means the ing, and the other one in the past simple, that means the ed, unless it's an irregular. And this is what we have here. When he fell asleep, it's irregular. Oh dear. Now that sounds very old English. It's not very common. We don't say oh dear. We say something like, oh no, or like, my God, or oh, that's awful. Like we say something more like that. So just be careful. This is not a very common expression. Sounds like you're an old person. So you don't want to sound like an old person, or sounds like you're speaking like old English. So you want to say something more common like, oh no, that's terrible. That's so bad. Like something like that. Yes. Smoke in bed. Yes. So remember when we looked at our gerund, where we're actually starting the sentence with an ing form. That's called the gerund. Okay, look back at the lesson if you don't remember. So I'll just write it here, gerund. The gerund. So that means that we can start the sentence with an ing because that's our topic. So this person is saying smoking in bed. I think it's present. So smoking in bed, I'm giving it's like I'm giving someone advice or telling them what I think is. Yep, so I'm going to put the verb to be in the present. So smoking in bed is very dangerous. Smokers should, so this is a modal verb. Remember, should is when something is very, very important. Smokers, that's people who smoke, should never smoke in bed. I don't think we need to change that. Smokers should never smoke in bed. That's perfect. So I hope you're getting these answers correct so far. Well, this is, yes. Now, how did I know? Because if you have a look, that's my noun. Okay, we always said before the noun, we must add an article. An article is words like a, an, or the. Now, we just have adjectives. Okay, so these words, you have to know that these are adjectives. They give us information about the noun. Now, the noun is hotel, so that's why we have to have an article, even if it's far away from the noun, because we have adjectives. Doesn't matter, you must always have an adjective. So, well, this is a big and expensive hotel in the city where it looks like it's a present
Well,
continuous. So present now, where I'm like wondering where be, because you remember when we make a question and then no, yes, sorry, yeah. So where are the guests going to stay now? So you must look back. This is the present continuous. I can see present because, you know, am is are is in the moment and ing continuous. So you could start the question with the verb to be, you know, are you going to work today? Or you can put one of those W words in front of them. So where are the guests going to stay now? Where are you going later? Where are you traveling to next month? Sorry, I can't answer any more questions. That's fine. That's using the modal can, but we just made it a negative. I cannot, I can't answer any more questions. I must, that's another modal. Okay, so make sure you know your modals. We did that maybe 2 lessons ago. Okay, these are modal verbs. So I must go back to, again, we've got a noun. We can't just say fire. I must go back to the fire. Yeah, I must go back to the fire. Okay, so how did you go? That was, you could see it was a conversation with a news reporter talking to the fireman at the time that this is happening. And you could see that he went to the past simple because he's saying what happened before the fire. And then he's talking about now, what is happening now. And he used a bit of, you know, he gave some advice, Jurang. He said that smoking in bed is very dangerous. And he used the must, where it means very, very important. I must go back to the fire. So the fire is still happening. Okay, so make sure you could see that past, the present, all the different grammar terms there, because it's the moment when he is talking about something. If he is telling you what happened before the fire, that must be with your ed, your past. Okay, let's do the next question. So circle the correct words to complete the sentences. Is that Kate's bike? No, it's
Mine.
It's mine. Now remember we looked at the possessive adjectives. So if you don't remember, these were your possessive adjectives and your possessive pronouns. Okay, have a look back at your possessive pronouns. So it's not the same as the subject. The subject is I, you, he, she, it, we, they. But that's when you start a sentence that way. Now this is saying, so is that Kate's bike? So this object, noun, belongs to Kate. So we need to put that apostrophe S to show it is her bike. And we're saying, no, it's mine. Because I'm not starting the sentence with you know, I enjoy swimming. I'm not using the subject to begin my sentence. I'm responding and I need to respond with a pronoun. So mine. So swimming or to swim is very good exercise.
Swimming.
Yeah, swimming. The gerund, swimming is very good exercise. If you have any problems, I will help you. Because this is using the present now. Now, you could see we've got a noun. Remember, with our nouns, this is what I was telling you before. That's one of the rules where we use have. So if you have any problems, remember, any is like a word to say, just doesn't matter, any problem, not like a specific problem, just a problem in general. And it's plural. And we use any when we talk about, yeah, if you have any problems, just in general, future, I will help you. Number 4, I stayed in bed because I felt ill. So remember the difference between so and because. So when I use because, it means I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to give you the reason. So I stayed in bed. Why? Because I was feeling bad, because I was sick, I was unwell, I felt ill. How much time have you got? Yeah. So much is used with remember we looked at our nouns. So we've got countable and uncountable nouns. So again, if you're not sure on why this one was that, look at your uncountable and countable nouns. It comes back from those lessons. So time is an uncountable noun, and we use much. Okay, many was with countable nouns, like how many apples do you have? Because we can count them. Remember, 1 apple, 2 apple, 3 apple. But time, you can't say 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. So we use how much. Remember, uncountable was like words like bread, oil, sugar, flour. Good. So how much? How much flour do you want? How much rice do you want? How much sugar do you want? Number 6, he
was waiting.
Oh, we have 2 different answers. Which one? He was waiting for me when I arrived. I reckon this one. Why? Who said this one was waiting? Did you say this one? Yes, because we've got when, and as I said, we use the present. Sorry, this is the past simple. So you can see here the past, sorry, continuous. That was a very long time ago. What lesson was that? Okay, you have to look back. That was the past continuous. We have when, so we've got 2 actions happening. One of them must be in the continuous. And then on the other side of when, it must be in the past simple. And you can see the past simple because you've got the ED. And I can see the continuous because I've got the ing and the verb to be. So you can see 2 actions. If you look at when, which is separating the 2 actions. Okay, so when is separating the 2 actions. So he was waiting for me when I arrived at the airport. So you can't put the same tense before when. You can't have 2 past simples or 2 past continuous. One of them is in the past continuous, the other one is in the past simple. Number 7, I phoned Alice and Mary.
To invite.
Yeah, to invite. So when I want to say why, this was called the infinite. So if you want to look back at your grammar notes, the infinite of purpose, it's showing why did you do the first action? So why did I phone Alice and Mary? So when I want to say why, I use the infinite of purpose, and it's just 2 verbs. To invite them to the party, to speak to them, to ask them questions. So it must be 2 verb. It's like I'm saying, why did I do the first action? So again, infinite of purpose. And number 8, we, yes. Now we're using here the present perfect. We know it's the present perfect because we got the word since. And since, why not for? Because we're saying exactly which year, which day, which time. So we have lived here since 1999, and I'm still here. So it's present perfect means the action happened in the past, and it's still continuing now to this moment. So if you want to say for how long, you can also say for how long. Who's good at maths? 2024 minus 1999 is whatever that number would be. And I'm not good.
15.
15 years? Good, 15 years. So if you want, you could say 4, but you just got to find out how long, work it out for 15 years. Or you could say from exactly which year since 1999. Another way, for 15 years. 20?
25.
25? Yeah. Okay, for 25 years. So you could, if you want, you can use 4, but it's you could see the answer is different. So you could say, we have lived here since 1999, or we have lived here for 25 years. Okay, good. That was from the present perfect. An action started in the past and is still happening in this moment that we are speaking. Okay, so now you're remembering all the rules, I hope. We still got number 9. He took his umbrella. I think I'm saying why. So we're still using the why. So he took his umbrella because it was raining. Exactly. Why did he take his umbrella? Because it was raining. Have you here since you left school? Yes. So we know it's, again, this is the present perfect question. We know it's the present perfect. Because we've got since, I can see the since. Have you worked here since you left school? Now this one, did you work here, is only if I was to make a sentence like, because it's a past simple. So did you work here last night? So it's like a finished, completed action in the past. Did you work here last year? Okay, did you work here in the morning? So it's like a finished, but because it's still continuing, the person is still in the work, they're saying, oh, have you worked here since you left school? Because you're still here now. So that's why we need to make sure it's the present perfect with have you worked here since you left school? So not this one. Okay, let's go to part C. So put the verbs in the correct tense and form. Okay, so we look like we have a question and we have to use the subject you and the verb have. So how can we make that a question? Well, they said you. Did you have? Yes. So be careful not to start it with the verb have. Have you had a good time last weekend? No. It's a past simple. Past simple. Did you have a good time last weekend? The action is finished. So we want to use did because we know that's the past simple way to ask about what happened, and it's a finished, completed action. Did you have a good time last weekend? Okay, number 2, yeah, irregular past. I saw that film 3 times, but I'd like to see it again. Yeah. So make sure that's an irregular. It does not take the ED. It's irregular past simple. Irregular, breaks the rules. It doesn't have the ED. So I saw that film 3 times in the past. Okay, but then I changed it to a present, but now I would like to see it again. Number 3, she, yes. So you know because you saw when, so she was talking. We know that we can't put the same tense. One must be in the continuous, and then I can see when, the other one on the other side, past simple. Okay, so whenever you have that word when or while, one side is the continuous, the other side is the simple. So she was talking to Mary when I saw her in town. Number 4, where?
Will you go?
Now let's look at the time,
Yeah,
next
yeah.
year. So it's still in the future. So where? Which one?
Where are? Oh,
You're very
Yeah.
close. Where are? What's the verb? Where are?
I'm going.
Yes, where are you going?
I'm doing.
Where are you going for your holidays next year? So that's a way that we can talk about the future. It's in the present continuous. Yeah, it's got the ing. Continuous. Okay, so where are you going for your holidays next year? So we know because of that word here, the time phrase, next year. This action hasn't happened yet. Next year. Where are you going for your holidays next year? Not now, not yesterday or last year, but in the future, next year. Be careful with that glass. If you drop it,
Will break. Will break.
if you drop it, it will break. Yeah, it could break. It might break. Any could be right because it's when you've got if, it's like an imagined, situation. It hasn't happened. You remember when we said if it rains, then I won't do something.
If condition.
Pardon?
If you drop first condition.
First conditional. So in the lesson that we learned it with the will, I think. But I'm just trying to show you it could have been could or might. I think because this is just elementary. This is what we learned. First conditional, good, which is imagined if this happens, then I will. I like to use the example, if I win $1 million, then I will travel the world. So be careful with that glass. If you drop it, it will break because we learnt to use it with the future for first conditional. Now, second and third conditional are different rules, which we'll learn later in the next level. It could have been, if you drop it, it could break. It might break. It will break. So you could have these other answers. But for this level, we learnt the first conditional. So if you look at your rules again, if you're not sure, first conditional, if, and then it had will. If this first action happens, then another action will happen. Okay, I usually something with Joanna on Saturday nights, but she's away this weekend.
Going.
Well, I'll tell you the trick. How do I know? I've got an adverb. Now, remember, adverbs are words like always, sometimes, never, occasionally. What tense do we use adverbs with? Present,
Continue.
simple. Only, yeah. We only use adverbs. Okay, so these were called adverbs. So if you look back at the lessons with the adverbs, we only use them with the present simple. And it's like talking about your routine. I usually go to the gym 3 times a week. I usually cook dinner every night. I sometimes go to the beach. I always speak to my friends, So it's like talking about my routine, always and only with the present simple. So I usually, just go out. We need to leave the verb in the same tense. So I usually go out with Joanna on Saturday nights. So you can see I'm talking about my routine. I usually do this action, but then I've said but, so something different is happening. But she's away this weekend. So if you remember, we looked at these words. These were called the conjunctions. Okay, so I want you to make sure that you could see all the grammar words. The conjunctions are words that connect two parts of a sentence together. Conjunctions are words like and but. So we're saying this first action, I usually would have done it. That's my routine. But then something else is stopping it. So I can't go out with her because she's away this weekend. Okay, Kevin something anything since he got up this morning. We need to make it a negative.
Kapan itu? Didn't eat.
Yeah, I think we've got since. So not didn't. Yes, hasn't. Now we know he, she, it. So because we're speaking about Kevin and it's a he, so he hasn't eaten. So be careful with your present perfect, because the past can be irregular. So usually an ed, but it's a irregular. We could see the not. We've added it to the verb have. So he hasn't eaten anything. I knew hasn't because it said since. And you can already see this is the past simple, since he got up. So you can already see the past simple here. So that's why I didn't say Kevin didn't eat anything. I can only say didn't if I just stopped my sentence there. Oh, Kevin didn't eat anything this morning. That's fine, full stop. But because I said since and I'm adding another action, we can't use two tenses on the same side. So one of them is the present perfect, hasn't eaten, and then since, past simple, since he got up, and that's irregular, does not have the ed. Number 8, where's Annie?
He's doing.
She is doing the shopping at the moment. She's doing, yeah. Yeah, not a common way to say that in English. That's why I thought, is it correct? We say, where's Annie? She's shopping at the moment. We don't really say she's doing. We just say she's shopping. Where is she? She's shopping. Or we say, where is she? She's out shopping. That's more common English. But she's doing the shopping. Again, this is just, it's good. It is correct grammar, but it's not common. That's not how a native speaker says it. A native speaker says it like, oh, she's out shopping at the moment. Okay, so make sure you just be careful with these phrases that you can speak, you know, not like a book, but you could speak like a person. So where's Annie? We would say she's out shopping. Even if you want to add at the moment, she's out shopping at the moment, but really we would have put a full, she's out shopping. So that's more common way to answer that. Okay, number 9. It was a beautiful morning. The sun, was, so I can see it's in the park. The sun was shining and the birds were singing. Yep. So we could see two actions happening together. We've added and, that's a conjunction to allow us to talk about two actions happening. So the sun was shining and the birds were singing. So using your past continuous. So make sure you know it's a past continuous because you can see the ing and the verb to be. And one was a singular because the sun is only one, it's singular. But the birds is plural. So we have to say were. Because it's plural. They were singing. Number 10, if you
don't study further, you say the time.
Yeah, if you don't study. So it's a present simple negative. If you don't study harder, you'll fail the exam. So I'm speaking now in this moment. So present simple. It's just a negative if you don't. Remember for he, she, it, if she doesn't, if he doesn't, if it doesn't. But it's you. So if you don't study harder. Now we've used the comparative because we're comparing, now compared to all the times before. If you don't study harder now, then we've gone to a future. You will fail the exam. That's in the future because I'm making like a prediction what I think will happen in the future. So present simple because we could see the negative do not. If you don't, remember do not, when you use don't, you don't add an ing or ed to the action. If you don't study harder, you'll fail the exam. Okay, last part of the test. Find the mistakes in each sentence and rewrite it correctly. So what is your girlfriend look like? How can we write that properly? What? So present simple, because present simple, because I'm asking a question to someone now. So what?
Do
No, that's in the past. Present. What?
you get
Like
What? Yeah.
what is your girlfriend looks like?
No, you just read the same question. The same thing. What does your girlfriend, very close, look like? Now, it's a question. We know that when we ask questions, you got to look back. We use the verb do. Now, does, because I'm talking about her, not saying what do you look like. I'm asking what does she, your girlfriend, look like? So if you're not sure where that rule came from, have a look back at your present simple. It's just a present simple question. So what does, because the subject was he, she, it. So if I'm going to ask you, what do you do for a job, right? What do you do for work? What do you study? What do you do? Okay, number 2. I ran along the footpath and above the bridge.
I run up the footpath on over the
Yes, using good your prepositions. So if you remember, prepositions were words like they show us the place and location of maybe movement or where an object is. So it's like words like above, below, underneath, by, over, under, so around. So I ran along the footpath. That's fine because that means like like on it. I ran along the footpath and what did you say?
over.
And over. Yeah. And over the bridge. Now, if you were above the bridge, that means you're in the sky above the bridge. Like it'd be impossible. So it's very important that these two prepositions, you know exactly what they mean. Over the bridge. So if this is a bridge, we're saying we ran along the footpath and then over, because we're still touching the ground, and then we went like that. If we went under, we would go under the bridge, and above the bridge means up in the sky. We somehow flew above, but we didn't. We just went over the bridge. Okay, so if this was our bridge, be very careful. Over means I'm still touching the actual structure of the bridge. I just went over it. Okay, so good. That was your prepositions. He shouldn't to be so lazy. He shouldn't. No, he shouldn't be. No, so lazy. That's it. He shouldn't be so lazy. So what was happening that you don't need to put, because when you've got should verb, remember I should study, I should speak to Maria, I should work hard. So this is just because it's a negative. You need should and then the verb immediately after it. So he shouldn't be so lazy. Number 4, there are so many sweets here. Are they your? So the first one, fine, there are some sweets here. Are they, because plural, we know the sweets, plural, are they?
One,
Are they want? No. Are they? Yours. Using your, so you got to look back at your possessive adjectives or your pronouns. You have to look back at those lessons. So remember, because we're showing this object, this noun, who does it belong to? So, you know, mine, yours, his, hers, its. So not the subject, but we need the possessive pronouns and objects. And like I said, they're words like mine. So no, this is, you know, it's mine. It's yours. It's hers. So if it's for her, we say it's hers. It's his. It's theirs. And it's ours. Okay, so possessive pronouns, because we're not starting the sentence with a subject. We don't want to say I, you, he, she, it, we, they. We want to show who does this object belong to. So are they yours? Why did you go to Manchester? For finding a new job? So the first part is correct. Why did you go to Manchester? So that's just a city. So why did you go there? Yes, to find. So when you respond, it's still the infinite. Infinite of purpose. You're saying why, and you can respond. This is like someone else responding. So one person here is saying, why did you go to Manchester? And then when you want to say why, this is another person. So he wants to say why he did this action. You just say to verb, to find a new job, to make new friends, to look for a partner, whatever. So to verb, you can respond with your answer by saying to verb, because you're saying why you did that action. So we use the infinite of purpose. So again, look back at the rules, the lessons for that. Okay, I'm thinking of buying a new car.
Dubai. You thinking?
Dubai,
No, I actually said the answer accidentally because I can't read it wrong. I accidentally said it right. So I'm thinking of buying.
Buying.
Yeah, maybe you didn't hear me, but I accidentally said it when I was reading it. So of buying, what rule was that? I think that was one of the rules where I remember when we did it, I just can't remember prepositions before and after. Gerund after certain verbs. Yeah, the gerund after prepositions. If you have a look at 135. So that was, again, if you have a look at those lessons that we did, gerund after prepositions. So your preposition is the word of, And then after these prepositions, you have to use the ing. So I'm thinking of buying. I'm thinking of moving to a different city. I'm thinking of studying a new course. I'm thinking of doing something. So always when you're, especially when we use it with this one, I'm thinking, that means like, it's just a plan for now. I'm not sure. I'm not 100%. I'm just thinking. And then of, it must be a gerund here. So remember, your gerund means the ing. So I'm thinking of buying a new car. It's just a plan. I'm not 100% sure yet. So I'm telling someone this is just my plan. Number 7, there isn't many food in the house.
Get any food? There you can
There, have a look at the
Much.
much.
Yeah, so remember food, uncountable. So remember when we had our nouns, countable and uncountable? So this was from the rules of uncountable nouns, and there isn't much food in the house. So we had to change many to much, because this is the word that we use with the uncountable nouns. And it's a negative, there isn't. So we've got the not. There isn't much food in the house. Okay, the bus stop is in front the school.
In front of.
Yeah, in front of. So the bus stop is in front of the school. I think that was maybe just one of our prepositions. So if you look back, it's one of our prepositions. They go together, this word, in front of. So the bus stop is in front of the school. You could say something like, my house is in front of the church. So opposite. Yeah, another word for opposite, exactly. So when something is in front of something, it's like they're facing it in front of. So that's why we have that preposition. Okay, number 9. It was raining because we decided to stay at home.
So
Yes. So we need to connect it. So I'm going to put here, it was raining. So not because, so we decided to stay at home. So the difference between when we have because, we're not saying the reason. We're not saying it was raining because, you know, it's winter and it's very cold. We're just saying it was raining, and then I'm putting so, what did we do? What was the action that we did after? So we decided to stay at home. Okay. And the last one, can I have a little apples?
few.
Perfect. Can I have a few? That comes, can I have a few apples? Can I have some? You could use some. Can I have some apples? Can I have a little? So we know not a little, because that's for singular. When we have singular, this is plural. So can I have a few apples? Can I have some? I would go for some because it sounds more like general. Can I have some apples? Can I have, unless you want to say how much, can I have 2 kilos of apples? Then I would be correct to put more, how much exactly. Okay, how did you go on the test? Once you know the rules, you see. Can I have a few? They're both, or you can both say the same. Can I have a few apples? Can I have some apples? They both work. You can say both a few, or you can say some. It's up to you. But I think it's more common, we've been doing some from our exercises, I think some. So how did you go in the test? We had a mini little test today. So you can add up your points.
Okay, this, the student that you mentioned,
Yeah.
these are by now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when do you think he's gonna return?
I told him to come on Friday. He
Friday?
was very, very sick on last week.
I'm able to pass it to the student this Friday
Yes.
and take a photo like this
Okay.
and
Yeah.
upload it in WhatsApp group.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So once you hand it to the student, just take a photo by using the white background.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
And also, yeah, follow up with the catch-up. So has it
Yes. She hasn't come yet.
no?
But I printed her, no, Juanita, but I did print her some great exercises for the passive. So
Uh-huh.
I'm waiting
She
for her.
didn't?
No, she's not here.
Uh-huh.
So
And for the diploma student?
there was one student that came last week.
Uh-huh. The Chinese
The one that's starting next year, the course. There's one that's starting next year, but then there was another one. She said she's starting very soon, like what you said.
Very soon. No.
I did take their name. Oh, I do. Sorry, let me.
And then what's the name?
So that's one exercises for her. Yes, yeah, Jessica. Yeah, so she came. Yeah, so that's right. Yeah, she came.
Once or twice.
Because there's two of them. But I remember the guy up front said he was going to make me my timetable. But I can catch up. Now I can check in who's going. 3 hours now. So yeah.
So
Is that
like,
her?
yes, she does.
Yeah. She did. I remember us.
Seriously,
I'm not sure she was sitting right here, but I don't know which one it was.
maybe that's one.
I don't know, maybe it's fine. Do you remember last week? Was there one girl 2 times she come or 1 time?
A Chinese girl.
We saw only one.
1 time.
Once.
So I remember you both came Tuesday, Thursday last week. 1 time?
Yeah.
Yeah, so once. Okay, I hope that helps. Okay. Okay, so did you check, how did you go with all of the grammar that we have learnt? That was the test that we did. I hope you did well.